Hello and welcome to another episode of the Audiocast with me, Dr. Shweta Dilip. Today I'm here with a very good friend and a previous colleague of mine, Dr. Parul Thakur. Parul and I have worked together before. We're good friends and we've known each other for a while now. And again, I'm very happy to introduce her and invite her to the show, and I'm happy to share my thoughts with her on another brand new topic.
Happy to be here. Hi guys, I'm Dr. Parul. I'm a dermatologist who's been practicing in Dubai for almost close to 7 years now, and in general in this field for the last 10 years. I'm so glad we are doing this together.
For today's topic, we're going to discuss something which is quite intense, information heavy, but nevertheless, I found this very interesting, and it is demographics. It's the number of people who do non-surgical procedures around the world. And this is nice for us to take a step back and see exactly what the numbers are, because we see our own practice and we don't know what the global scale is like. So I found a very interesting paper from ISAPS, which is a global organization sort of run by plastic surgeons that documents all the surgical and non-surgical procedures done globally in the year 2021. They've not put out a 2022 paper yet. So this is the best reference I could find. And I think this is a great paper for us to start with.
I think so too, because it's very relevant to see where the aesthetics and surgical and non-surgical aesthetics are heading. And this is a good large database study nevertheless. Even if it is 2021, it still gives us a good idea about the trends right now.
Perfect. So to kick things off, I'm going to start off with the procedures done worldwide. And if the number was beautiful, like it's 17.59 million procedures done globally. And this is only non-surgical that we're going to cover. And I think this is amazing because look, the number was 10 million in 2017, which is just 4 years before. And now it's 17 million, which is a 54.5% increase in the number of procedures done.
And this is something that does reflect in our practice as well. We have been seeing an increase in the number of aesthetic procedures being done. People are getting more and more involved. And let's just delve a little deeper into what are the procedures which are more commonly done.
So in your practice, tell me, Doc, do you see more of Botox or fillers, or are you seeing other injectables? How does this reflect for you? Because this is also relevant to us as the data in the UAE, which is not covered very much in this paper.
I think Botox is right now one of the most common things that I do. Almost every age group is very, very well aware of Botox now. So you get patients coming in for Botox right from as early as 20s to their 60s. The next would be the fillers. I think everybody is getting very, very conscious about how they look, how they can enhance it. And we're definitely seeing an increased trend in that.
Another interesting data I found, and we were just joking about this earlier, that laser hair reductions are still slightly not as popular as Botox, but about 250,000 men have now started. There's an increase of 250,000 men doing the procedure, and I'm sure half of them are from the UAE.
Yeah, that's very relevant to this region. I'm 100% sure about that. But it is also very, very interesting that laser hair removal, which used to be one of the most common things being done, is now actually behind Botox and fillers.
And I can't really understand why that is. I try to think a lot about it. What are your thoughts?
For me, I feel like most people have already done it. So they have moved on to something new.
We ran out of people who are yet to do laser.
Exactly. Another interesting thing in this study was that even though the majority age group still remains 35 to 50 years, there's definitely an increase in the youngsters who are going for aesthetic procedures. The age group between 19 to 34 years, that is.
19 to 34 is a very, I feel like that's still the early college, late college going on, the early working group of people. And I agree, I see a lot more coming in because the conversation about beauty procedures has changed. Growing up in Dubai, I tell you, the conversations I had with my friends when I was that age was more about food and where we'd go to hang out. And now when I speak to my patients, they all talk about, oh, so my friend had this procedure done and these are where my other friends are going. And so there's so much of openness and there's open communication between them about where they do their procedures. There's no shaming. And I think that's why they find it more easier to come through our doors and do the procedures that we do it for them.
Definitely. And I think another thing is that people are looking at it more like a preventive thing. And as you said, there's a lot more openness about it. There's also a lot more consciousness about it. So people are looking at aesthetic procedures more as how we can prevent aging so that we are not stuck at the age of 35, 50 thinking that, oh, we should have done it before.
That's true. So another fact that we found out from the study is that out of all the surgical and the non-surgical procedures done globally, USA ranks number 1.
I'm not surprised by that.
I think considering the number of plastic surgeons they have in the area, definitely, and the procedures they do, definitely that makes sense. But guess what? Number 7 is Turkey.
I feel that's a bit low.
Yeah,
I definitely thought that it would be ranking much higher, especially because this is a study from plastic surgeons.
Well, all over the world, I think they go to Turkey. There's this joke that they say at the Turkey airport, you can't find anyone who doesn't have a bandage around their nose or their head.
Exactly, and then they are number 7.
They're number 7. And guess who's on number 8? Just India.
Where is UAE?
UAE did not make it on this list.
How is that even possible?
I don't understand. I think this is a very biased list. That's why I told you from the beginning.
But it is this list which is just for plastic surgery. I mean, it doesn't really consider the GPs and the dermatologists who are injecting.
Which is quite high in our region. So I think that's the reason why UAE didn't make it on the list.
Might be one of the reasons.
The fun thing is, in India, the most commonly done non-surgical procedure is, one of them, the top 3, is laser hair removal. What does that say about us?
That we are very hairy people.
Yeah.
But that is true to some extent because I have practiced in India and at least when I was practicing back there, it wasn't really about Botox and fillers. It was more about laser hair removal.
Laser hair removal and skin tightening are still high ranking on the India list.
I think a little bit of the skin tightening is because they just want to avoid Botox and fillers. The trend is definitely changing, but I think that is where the mentality comes in that, okay, if we do skin tightening, we might not need
Botox and fillers. What do you tell clients who say that I don't want to do Botox?
Well, I say that it's a muscle which is causing these kind of lines. No matter how much you tighten your skin, it's not really going to tighten the muscle. So eventually you will see those lines. And if they are the ones that are bothering you, at some point of time, you will have to treat them.
I tell them, look, we'll cross that bridge when it comes, but I will wear you down. I will somehow get some Botox into your body. But there's been no patient who's been my client for years and I haven't stuck some Botox in them. I know it sounds very one-dimensional that you have to rely on Botox.
No, but that's true to some extent. But in my case, I've seen that I usually have to build it up.
Yes, yeah, of course. With time, I think you can counsel them and educate. Most clients are...
It's more about educating them because they come in with a fear of Botox, although that has come down dramatically. But they do come in with a fear of Botox and then you have to sort of wear it down.
And then you slowly get to them and you can finally get your work done. I always have this...
no wonder why Botox is the number 1 procedure.
It is the number 1 procedure. And it's the most researched drug in the world.
Exactly.
It is the most researched drug in the world.
If you look at the safety studies, I think we have more safety studies and more safety data about Botox than a lot of other medicines that people keep popping up.
I think we can have a separate audiocast only on Botox.
We should do that.
Only on how much we love Botox.
And how safe it is as compared to what people think it is.
So when most people say, what are the side effects? I always tell them it's operator related or it's just that you don't follow the post-care. But as a drug by itself, these safety studies have come out fairly green, which is why it's a $1 million industry for a reason.
Which is why it's coming up as the number 1 procedure as well.
A lot of this data doesn't really represent, I feel, the UAE database that we have over here because this study was done by plastic surgeons. And in the UAE, we have so many different specialties offering non-surgical procedures, like, for example, GP, aesthetic medicines, dermatology, ENT. Some gynecologists and dentists and ophthalmologists are also doing it.
Yeah, and I think when you look at the procedures which are reflected in this, it does make a little bit more sense because, say, for example, of course, a plastic surgeon will do more Botox and fillers as compared to laser hair removals.
Yeah, makes sense, actually.
If a plastic surgeon is doing Botox, I think we do way more Botox as compared to...
In this data, it was just 7.3 million. I think we're at triple at that much.
I would probably agree. And I think we also do a lot of combinations, which are more, skin tightening, skin rejuvenation, along with Botox and fillers. Which is, again, not something that a plastic surgeon would do as often.
True. With this study, they did talk about medical tourism, which we briefly covered, but they also spoke about how COVID affected their practice. And to be very honest with you, those numbers, I didn't relate to those numbers.
I did read that. I think that actually people have become a lot more aware about aesthetics during COVID. A lot of it is what we call as the Zoom boom.
The Zoom boom, yes.
You're just seeing yourself all the time. You're seeing all your faults, what you can correct. You're getting a lot more conscious about how you look on camera. And I think that has actually increased the practice. Did you notice that?
I thought people had a lot of downtime and they saved a lot of money for not going for vacations.
That's true as well. I actually have had patients who could not go for like an Eid break.
Yes.
And they were like, okay, let's
just do this procedure. Because I've been saving up, so I might as well come and do the procedure.
Exactly.
So our business actually did really well. And people wanted that time to look good and feel good. And they had that time working from home too.
Also wearing masks.
Yeah.
It's so much easier to just cover, the downtime. The
lip
swelling
fillers.
after the lip filler. You're just wearing a mask. And
even now when I have someone who has the lip fillers done, I always tell them, thank God for the masks. Now you can cover it. Don't worry, no one's going to look at you differently. This is what the study basically said. And I think that's a good way for us to just wrap up the study.
Yeah, I think it's an indication of where the trends are heading and how aesthetics is becoming more and more popular. But it's not entirely representative of what we do.
And the COVID data showed that globally COVID brought a decrease in procedures, which
Definitely did not do for us.
But with increased procedures over the years, this means increased complications also.
A lot of it is because, especially in some countries, it's very, very unregulated.
Yeah.
There are people who are unlicensed, not properly trained, who are just jumping into the bandwagon of aesthetics and trying to,
Trying to make trying their luck, basically.
Trying their luck, exactly.
During COVID, there were so many stories of people who had these mobile vans and they would inject lip fillers and Botox.
Oh my God.
In the back of their vans. And there were people who were breaking quarantine for this. And
I did not hear about this.
It was very crazy because when you have a complication like that, you can't find... This was all happening in the UK primarily. They couldn't find a licensed practitioner who helped them with Hyalase. And I found this very strange that, you would go to that extent and go to a practitioner who would inject you in the back of a van, literally get in the back of a van and stab someone with a needle. And this is what our industry has been reduced to.
This is where the ignorance is bliss.
I know.
So
just hope nothing happens to you. Just go to the first person who says, I have a van, I have a needle, let's go for it.
But I think even with time, with the awareness about aesthetics, this is going to change. People are going to start looking into going to people who are more licensed, more experienced, and hopefully we'll not see such vans again.
Hopefully those vans are done for. And, a lot of, after these complications, after COVID especially, a lot of countries have tightened their regulations on who can inject. And
I know that UAE has done that as well.
Yes, the UAE as well has done that, which is easier because it brings a lot of peace of mind to the consumer, which is our clientele, knowing that whoever has a syringe in their hand is licensed and trained and educated to help you with complications as well as with the treatment.
And this is something which will actually help increase the number of procedures as well, because once you are at peace, knowing that the person who is doing it is licensed, you are a lot more confident to go ahead and do it actually.
Yeah, you're open-minded because you know that you're in safe hands.
So to touch back on another point in the whole study about the trends of aesthetics, I think one of the other reasons why the Botox and fillers have increased is because the number of indications has increased.
Indications are now not everyone goes for the same classic upper face Botox, 3 areas. In my practice, at least, I think that we have a lot of younger people coming in for the ponytail lift, especially with Botox or with fillers. The cat eye, the fox eye, our favorite, right?
Yes, and then there's meso Botox, and there's baby Botox, and there's nose Botox, there's
chin Botox, and there's masseter Botox, and so many different kinds of indications now.
It's not just limited to those traditional indications.
The 3 areas, the classic 3
Same
areas.
with fillers as well.
Absolutely, yeah. With fillers, you see a lot more. Again, the ponytail lift has made it...
I think that's one of the number one things right now that I am doing, the ponytail.
The ponytail lift with the fillers?
Yes, it's one of the most popular things, especially with the younger generation.
With the younger generation. I'm still sticking to the traditional Botox and maybe a little bit of skin tightening. I'm still sticking to very conservative practice on that. But that definitely explains why we have a lot more procedures.
And I think as we go on increasing the number of procedures, people themselves start exploring, okay, what else can be done? And it'll just increase the number of fillers, the number of Botox in the future as well.
You know how much I love injecting Botox for migraine. And it's one of the lesser known uses of Botox, but it's the most gratifying, quickest and easiest pain relief treatment. Shoulder Botox, jaw, back of the head. All these things are coming now because there's a beautiful new study that says that younger women who are a lot more stressed out clench their jaw a lot more. They lose their temporal fat pads. That's right. They're grinding their teeth a lot and they would benefit a lot more from Botox. So this is actually one of my favorite parts of the podcast is to hit you with a nice rapid fire round, which is what all my guests have sat right through and answered. My favorite part is it because I get to ask you 3 questions. And the first one is, what alternative career path would you have chosen if you're not doing what you're doing right now?
I think I would have been a surgeon, probably a plastic surgeon, because I was always interested in surgery. Even in dermatology, I was very, very interested in dermatosurgery. And that's one of the reasons why I'm so much into aesthetics.
Okay, here's another question for you. What is the last thing you Googled?
The route to your place, so that I can come here and have a chat with you.
That's the last thing you said. Brilliant. Okay, so, and the last and the final question, which is, what is the number one thing that you would advise someone in your line of work, as in essentially, what is your motto?
Well, I'm going to steal a popular line. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Oh, interesting. That is a song by Kelly Clarkson. You're going to listen to it on the way back in your car.
I probably will.
You probably will. Thank you so much for coming on today's episode.
It was lovely being here and chatting with you.
That brings us to the end of yet another Audiocast. Thank you so much, Dr. Parul, for being here, and thank you so much for listening in on the Audiocast. Please like, share, subscribe, and comment below what you'd like to hear in the next episode of the Audiocast, where I'll be back with another guest and another topic. Thank you and take care. Bye.